Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. And ladies and gentlemen, and that guy over there. For the first time in a long time, Excalibur has the best
Here,
consistent damage with the easiest setup. Hey everyone, it's me, Khalid MG. Today I got you Excalibur, like nothing you have seen. Well, depends on when I release the video. You know, I'm lazy AF. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Since this build requires endgame stuff, I'll cut to the chase and explain what is required only. Starting with the fact that we can install arcanes in exalted weapons, and that includes them all, no exceptions. And from this entire list, I'll choose melee influence and melee exposure. Both of them will serve its purpose, but let's put them aside for now. I want to talk a bit about Excalibur, and to be specific, his fourth ability, third ability, and to be more specific about their augments. Starting with Furious Javelin, that gives Excalibur melee damage multiplier that function like a clips, meaning that it's separated from prime pressure point or condition overload. This will allow us to ignore condition overload altogether and just add prime pressure point to increase the base damage for the other multipliers, and this will allow me to talk about the exalted blade's augment chromatic blade. Exalted Blade is a mediocre melee with a low attack speed, which is 0.83, a mediocre critical chance 15%, and 2 times crit multiplier, and a mediocre status chance of 15%. The weapon has 70% slash weight and has a great stance with good windups and high damage multipliers. The weapon animations throw energy waves that carries the same stats and deals separate instances of damage, meaning you can hit the target twice if you are close enough to hit it with the wave and the melee itself. The actual melee hit has 100% follow through, however the waves reduces its damage depending on the distance traveled, and it goes from 100 to 0, from 0 meters to 37.5 meters. Also, the lifespan of the energy wave is reduced after each enemy hit by 7.5 meters. That will be taken from the total of 37.5 meters mentioned before. The weapon scales from the ability strength and the equipped melee mods. That's great and all, but there is one problem. The base stats is underwhelming. It's kinda meh. The solution to this is the augment chromatic blade that removes the physical damage attributes from the weapon, replacing it with a single element, matching the emissive color of the warframe, plus adding additive status chance that scales with the ability strength. Also, I want to note something that I believe there is a bug that allows the waves to still retain even with the augment installed. I'm not quite sure if this is an actual thing or is it a forced proc, so let me know in the comments. With that being said, Fury Javelin and Chromatic Blade in Excalibur's build is a huge DPS increase. But now you will be asking me, that's the typical Excalibur's build, what's the point of the video? Hear me out, my dear viewer. This is the place where the arcanes I mentioned before and some other juicy updates that came with the techrot encore. But before we go anywhere further, I would like to ask you to drop a like or subscribe so the YouTube algorithm helps my channel. Oh, and by the way, all the testing was done on stream, so feel free to follow me on twitch.tv/KhalidMG1. If you missed, you missed, but feel free to check me out. You may find me there at any time since I have a crappy sleep schedule. So hope you see you there. Back to our discussion. In Techrot Encore, Excal was given what he needed most: Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, Galvanized Mods, and Arcanes. all of them are now available for all exalted weapons. So let's take a look at some builds, shall we? Post-production record, I forgot to mention that Excalibur gained the ability to get combo through his energy waves that comes from his exalted weapon. That's also a huge DPS increase and a thing that he suffered before, and this will easily help him to stack Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds. Also, I have heard that the combo count increases the damage multiplier of the exalted weapon. So let me know in the comments if this is an actual thing. So that's it for me. Okay, bye! First, let's take a look at the archon shards of my choice. I have 2 yellow shards for casting speed and 3 red shards for ability strength. Now let's take a look at my choice of helmenth, which was nourished to give me the viral elemental damage bonus and the energy multiplier, which is much needed for such a spammy build. You don't want to stop moving with this build or casting abilities, because if you do, you will die. Excalibur is kinda squishy. Now let's take a look at Excalibur's build. In the aura, I got corrosive projection to reduce the enemy armor by 18%. In the exo is the typical prime shift fitted. The less armor you bought, the more damage you will deal. For duration, I have prime continuity. For the large energy pool, I have prime flow. The double augments Furious Javelin, and Chromatic Blade for whatever reason we have mentioned before. Prime Redirection and Arcane Aegis for my survivability to increase my shield capacity and shield gate duration. And Arcane Aegis by itself will help me regenerate these shields fast. Equilibrium to convert energy to health and vice versa. And this will help me sustain my energy during the time Exalted Blade will be on, since it's a channel ability and I can gain energy through energy orbs. Blind Rage for extra ability strength. Post-production comment again. I know I said Blind Rage, but I meant fast deflection. However, Blind Rage is still fine in its place, so do what suits you. Okay, that's it for me. Okay, bye! Molt augmented for even more ability strength. You'll be asking why no Arcane Strike? We will get to that in a second. For my utility weapons, I have the Miter. The evolutions doesn't matter. All you need is the Amalgam Serration and Neutralizing Justice and Primary Dexterity. The rest, it doesn't matter. My secondary is a kit gun made from the Haymaker Grip, Spore Laser Chamber, and Splat Loader. The only purpose of this kit gun is to help me kill the Acolyte in case I can't kill it with my Exalted Blade, aka Violence Exists. The build, as you see, crit chance, crit damage, corrosive mods, and the extra is multi-shot, and I have accelerated isotope to add extra radiation. For its arcanes, secondary dexterity, for the combat duration for my exalted weapon, and to give the weapon base damage. And Pax Charge to turn the weapon into battery, so I don't need to reload the weapon every time an acolyte spawns. My melee will be the Praetus. It doesn't matter the build, all you need is the second evolution that gives you sprint speed and a slight percentage, and the fourth evolution that will give you 30% parkour velocity. My focus school will be Vazarin, just for the protective sling. Post-production comments again. You can use Madurai for the extra casting speed and extra ability strength, because why the fuck not? Okay, continuing with the video. Now, last but not least, the Exalted Blades build. Yeah, it's weird. I forgot to mention that the stance of the Exalted weapons now gives capacity. And thank God, I've been waiting for this for so long. Now, let's take a look at whatever mess I have done here. I have Prime Pressure Point to increase my base damage. Weeping Wounds to increase my status chance to sky high levels. The Prime Smite mods to multiply my damage toward the faction, since I'm dealing with a lot of status effect damage. Berserker Fury to increase my attack speed. Magnetic Rush to increase my attack speed and add magnetic damage to my weapon. Molten Impact and North Wind to form Blast. Galvanized Elementalist to give me extra status chance and status effect damage. Dreamer's Wrath to give me Tenakai and extra crit damage on my heavy attack. Doesn't matter honestly, but it's there to be there. You can swap it to any other Tenakai mod, but I like this one. Cherry on the top, melee influence. It will spread my status effects when I proc electric, and this will be easily done because of Chromatic Blade and the blue emissive color. let's say I want to use a crit exalted blade. I just want to use it to its full potential. It has a nice crit stat, a nice crit damage, and also a nice status chance. In this case, we will use this build. As you see, a few stuff has changed. When you change the emissive color to red, you will get heat damage, and this will leave us with radiation heat and magnetic. In this case, I have blood rush for crit chance, javalin steel for added crit chance and crit damage, prime pressure point again for base damage, focus red on for heavy attack efficiency, and radiation. We don't care about the heavy attack efficiency part because we have Tenakai, but it's nice to have. Prime Smite to Grenier, Shocking Touch, and Northwind to add Magnetic, Berserker Fury for more attack speed. Now, instead of Melee Influence, I have Exposure. Melee Exposure will give me corrosive damage whenever I use an ability. This is why I told you we need Nourish and Equilibrium, because this is a really spammy build. You want to cast a lot of abilities to maintain buffs such as this one. I couldn't find any better combination for mods, so let me know down in the comments. Maybe you can find something better. For my companion, I have the Nautilus. Honestly, it doesn't matter, but I had the Nautilus because I thought I may need its grouping. But I found Megas Anomaly way better than Nautilus. Anyway, as you see, we have Cordon, Guardian, and the rest is survivability modes, calculated redirection and enhanced vitality, vacuum and assault mode, stems Viper to allow me to collect the health orbs, manifold bond to reduce my cooldown since I'm dealing with a lot of elements, tenacious bond to increase my critical chance, and prime region to reduce the cooldown required to respawn the Nautilus when it goes dead. The weapon will be burst laser because it can get about 50% crit chance for tenacious bond, and it allows me to install uber mods to help me save my ass in Wawachiwa moments in case arcane aegis didn't proc. You thought I'm finished, huh? Here's some sneak peeks for next videos. This is a casual Ash one-shotting enemies with only its fourth ability, dealing a few million damages. And this is the Mesa one-shotting Eximus units with an old build, but with a little tweak thanks to the new update. And that's Agara, doing literally nothing but walking and obliterating everything by just walking. And oh boy, this bitch, I'm not talking about this one. And that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Learn something new. Please consider subscribing. It's free. You can launch in your mind. Also, drop a like. It's very appreciated. Stay tuned and see you all next time in the next video. And don't forget to follow my Twitch channel. You may catch me up there. See you later. Woohoo!